Hey, buddy. So I told you I would do a second video today. I really wanted to do something today. Um, and I'm going to do something different than I've done. I wanted to check out the behind the scenes of the Dope music video. There was so much, there were so many questions I had as far as like how they shot this and how they shot that, and if there was green screen behind this one part, the infamous elevator, which I have to say, I was floored by the fact that so many of you said, I've seen this video a million times. I never even noticed the wall behind him moving. I love this stuff. So, as a lot of you know already, I kind of do, I can't say movie stuff. I'm not a movie guy, but I film videos and I write, I direct, I work camera, all that stuff. And so the visual storytelling aspect, I really do love this stuff because there's so much to it. So I really wanted to dive in. This isn't, this might be a 10-minute thing. It's not as big as some of the dance practices or the music videos themselves, but I'm really curious and I didn't want to do this on my own because, as I said, this is a journey for all of us. So I wanted to watch this and I'm sure I'll have questions along the way. So we're going to check out the concept photo and music video shooting for Dope.
어서 와. 방탄은 처음이지?
Ayo, ladies and gentlemen, 준비가 됐다면
엄청난 곡이에요. 퍼포먼스도 엄청나고요. 말 그대로 쩔어요, 쩔어.
I just saw a green screen. I wouldn't just pause for a green screen, but I'm going to point this out. So I know Dope is early in the BTS timeline. And I know that as much as they can, they stay away from CGI. It's all like real. If there's an explosion, it's a real explosion. Understand all that. When I suggested a green screen was possibly used at the elevator, some of the responses made me nervous. I'm like, oh, that could be maybe it's like a moving curtain, or maybe it's a green screen. It's got a little fuzz like it's a green screen. And some of you are like, BTS, they don't use no green screen. And I'm like, I'll just see myself out. I mean, I was nervous, but we got a green screen. Ain't nothing wrong with a green screen. Now I do know though, I mean, this is 2015 on Dope. I do know that these guys apparently have come a long way. Now I don't know that, I'm just going by what you've told me, but I'm really, really curious to see the transformation from 2015 to now. Green screen.
이렇게 염색한 사람이 안녕하세요? 좋아해서.
That's a really good point. I mean, this is nothing. He says, someone dyed their hair like this and says, hey, I'm a new employee. Like, what would you think? It's simple, but it's actually a really interesting point, especially from a generational aspect, right? So you see this that I have. I mean, when I first thought about getting this done, all this artwork, one of my closest friends, who's a little older, had said, "You don't do that. You're gonna be seen as a criminal. You're not gonna be able to get a job. It's just bad. It's bad for like you." And I remember saying, like, look, like, I understand, like, you come from a different generation. Back in your day, this was a whole different type of person that was kind of viewed, but now it's different. This is more artistic, and there's just a different feel to it. But really, this was just my choice. And if I mean, it's easy for me to say this now because I have a job and I love that job, and I don't hope I'm going anywhere soon. But it makes perfect sense that when you go into an interview, like, the first impression is what they see. Now I will say though that, yeah, this is what they see first, but then as soon as you speak and you present yourself, you have all the power to change whatever they think they saw in that initial impression. So, I mean, that's a bit of a ramble, but you see where I'm going. He makes the point right here as far as like, hey, I got dyed hair, I'm coming for this job interview. What do you think? You know, you make that first impression.
회사원 컨셉으로 입어봤는데 사원 스틱. 아 이거 너무 달아보고 싶었거든요. 정말 쩌네요.
괜찮아요. 하실래요?
나랑은 상관이 없었어 날 희망이 떨어져 그날의 끝까지 전부 다 쩍져라
언제 들어가죠? 퇴근 시간 기다리는 회사원.
There's a green screen. Knew it. So he's got the magnifying glass. Now, look at this caption. We got 33 seconds after 15 hours shooting. On a set, there is what seems to be, depending on what role you play, there is so much downtime. Because especially like if you're in the role of being on camera, you have your piece that you have to do, but there are so many moving parts around that one piece, whether it's camera, multiple cameras, the sound, multiple sound aspects and angles, and then even the set, like all this hardware back here, the lighting is very specific. You have practical lights, you have, you know, lights that are in the shot, and they kind of make you think like this is where all that light comes from, but it's not. There's so many more things that you don't see, but everything is very specific. 33 seconds after 15-hour shoot. I mean, that's wow.
5시간 동안 33초를 찍었어요. 뮤직비디오 촬영 현장 원래 이렇게 고달픈 거군요. 화려한 머리를 하면 쉽지 않을까 했는데 자신감 넘치는 안무가 귀여운 안무예요. 썰어냈는데 뭔가 저희가 안 해본 거여서 약간 새로워서 진짜 그냥 한번 빨라요. 좀 특별했던 것 같아요. 계속 활동이 기대하는 진짜 맛있는 그런 직업들이 있는데.
So can I ask, he says the dance moves are really quick. It's something we haven't done before, and that's what makes it special. So what came before Dope, like music video wise, or maybe it was live performance wise? What was the baseline that, I guess it's Jimin, was saying that he's comparing it to? Dance moves are real fast. It's what makes it special. So what's he referring to before this?
계속 활동이 기대하는 진짜 맛있는 그런 직업들이 있는데 보시다시피 레이터 닭거세요? 아 닭입니다. 무슨 직업이세요? 명탐정 코난입니다.
Oh! Okay, now it makes sense. And I suspected this, but I didn't want to get too deep into the whole filming and camera aspect. I know a lot of guys are interested, but I didn't want to just completely geek out in one direction. So this is the part where the costume change happens and then everybody comes out from behind RM. Okay, so that makes sense. The green screen's behind him, so there's a false background. It's digitally imposed. Okay, that makes a lot more sense. You know what I'm waiting to see right now. You can hear it.
Energy. Can I get a little bit of hope? From the top, put it, get walk.
마지막 씬을 남겨두고 있는데요. 현재 시간 새벽 6시를 넘었고요.
Now, a little fun fact for you, and some of you probably already know this, you've seen these videos a million times. And a lot of you have commented, and a lot of respect for how many of you already know that the camera people are working really hard to make this happen as well. I mean, everybody is. The whole crew is just a machine in and of itself. But a lot of people forget that the lens that you're seeing all this through is from the camera's perspective, right? And multiple cameras. And somebody's got to move that camera. And that camera and camera person has their own set of choreography that has to be adhered to. So the truth is, if the guys mess up a dance move and it ruins that shot and they have to start over or do it again, there's just as much pressure, if not more pressure, on the people that are involved in the shot, because these guys are really working hard to get the steps right, to get the rhythm right, to make everything happen when it's supposed to happen. But if you're the camera person and you make a mistake, you're not supposed to be making mistakes. I mean, that's how it feels sometimes when you're running that camera. But the fun fact I was going to point out, right here, so what you're seeing right here, okay, is what's called a gimbal, okay? There's basically, and it looks like, I don't know if I should say the name, but it's a gimbal. It holds the camera, and it holds the camera steady in a way that as the camera person moves forward or turns or even tilts a little bit, that camera just, my wallpaper, that camera sits perfectly steady, right? And it just, like, as he turns, it stays flat and level. So, and that's why the camera's so steady as he pushes in. And he's watching it on this monitor right here. This is most likely, I'm guessing, his guide, because as he's going to be moving around, he needs to be watching the monitor of where things are in the frame. I mean, one of my last videos, I cut everybody off because I rushed the video, so you missed half of the dancers on the right side of the frame. Newbie move, right? But he's got to watch the monitor. He can't be worried about what's to his right or what's to his left. So the guide is there to kind of hear or hold chords, make sure that nothing's tripped over. They're like the second set of eyes.
지금 약 새벽 아침 9시에 와 야가 저희가 썰어 있어요. 뮤비는 잘 나오고 왔네요.
썰어 진짜 멋있게 나올 것 같아요.
뮤비 썰어 기대해주세요. 안녕. 괜찮은 거야. 썰어에 빠지는
Hey, you ladies and gentlemen.
4시간 꿀잠.
자, 녀석들과는 다르게
엄청난 뜻이 담겨있어요. 22층 안에.
내 스타일로
엘리베이터 안에서 찍는 그런 씬이에요.
네가 흘러갔었는데 잘 몰랐지 말고 들었네
다음 1012 이상 뭘까요? 문너의 진주 OST 들었어요. 넌 신나게 달려올라니까.
So now I'm curious. Okay, so it says right there, concept photo and music video shooting. Okay, so this right here in the elevator is what seems to be a photo shoot. Because I was wondering if this was all like deleted scenes or stuff that wasn't used. Because you saw it yourself. There's 15 hours of shooting for 33 seconds of film. I mean, that's kind of how it works.
제 컨셉은 의사인데요. 평소에 제 이미지에 맞으니까.
나랑은 상관이 없었어 난 희망이처럼 오늘 말해보지마 그까지 전부 다
이 의미가 어딘지 아십니까?
Is there meaning there? What's that? Y'all know I love this stuff. Okay, so let's see. Wait a second, 2011?
이 의미가 어딘지 아십니까?
Okay, so let's see what we got. In my very limited BTS knowledge, I'm gonna blow a guess here. 2011-04-24. So if it's a date, it's April 24th, 2011. They debuted in 2013. So what would 2011 be? I mean, was that like the date of their first gig or their first something? Good answer, I know. It's something. Yeah, I mean, I'm not wrong. It's something, but I wonder what. I know a lot of you will tell me, and there's probably no way I'm guessing. There's no way that I have any idea what this is, but I will give you all props though, because it's almost like when I'm reading through all these comments, I love the symbolism. I love the layers and the levels. You know, you all told me about, I mean, I can't even begin to mention the things that you guys have told me, but the different layers of what's connected to what and how and what this meant. I mean, somebody even went, give me a second here. I don't want to get on my phone, but I saved this specifically for this reason. Because when it comes to all these little details that you all talk about, this really grabbed my attention. So somebody posted this comment, and it was about dope. Just some info about this song. The Korean word that is translated into dope for the title of this song doesn't really mean dope in the way that we as English speakers would interpret that word. It is a somewhat weak translation that loses a lot of the important double meaning of the Korean word used. The word they actually use would be more accurately translated as sick, a word that has more of a double meaning in English as both something that is really cool, which it's all connected. My first BTS video, I made a joke on the thumbnail that BTS stood for bro, that's sick. It's meant to be, I'm telling you. So that's so sick, man. And also a negative physical experience, like you get sick. The Korean word literally means drenched in sweat or something to that extent. Mind you, I'm not Korean. I got this from watching a reaction by some older Korean men, okay? So straightforward, good, direct, I like it. But is now used as slang by younger Koreans to mean awesome. So they're both saying they're really awesome, but they're saying that they work their butts off. I would be really curious, because of course I take that as face value. Like, it sounds legit to me. I mean, I have no reason to disbelieve it, but I would be really, really curious of what you all have to say in regards to that comment right there, and hear what your 2 cents is. But back to the whole thing, the symbolism here, he says, do you know what this means? Shows it to you, and then some of you know, some of you don't. But for people like me that love these different layers, I want to know now. And you know what's going to happen. When I find out, that's going to lead to something else, which is why we call this a rabbit hole.
얘기가 났습니다. 아니.
발레 슈즈는 왜 이럴까요?
Oh, did you see the pizza? Oh. Some of you guys know from my other videos, pizza, that is my, that word just gets me. If they show me an image, if I see RM eating pizza, my head's gonna explode. Be warned. Okay.
여러분들은 지금 방탄소년단 자켓 촬영 현장에 보고 계십니다. 유닛 촬영이 시작되었습니다. 이제 레몬 형이 들어가고 이제 다른 사람들이 이제 한 명씩 들어가고 제가 제일 마지막에 들어가요. 왜 제가 제일 마지막에 들어가냐?
가장 예의 바르고 멋있는 순서예요. 그럼 많은 기대 부탁드립니다. 정말 많은 기대 부탁드립니다. 안녕. 짜라 많이 사랑해주세요.
Isn't that fascinating in and of itself? Right there. We need your support. Think about, and you guys know this way better than I do, where they were in 2015 with this comment. We need your support. And where they are now. I don't even understand even just the slightest piece of where they are now and where they've come from based on what you all already know and what you've shared with me. But knowing that they are what they are now and they are who they are is so impressive. I love the energy. I love watching this stuff. I love seeing how it all works. I got some of my answers. I did have a lot of answers in the music video. But if anything, for me, I love this stuff. Instead of just getting the answers on like, well, how do they do this? How do they do that? I do love that stuff. But what I love more is that for me, this being on set is a lot of fun. It's extremely stressful, especially when, I mean, and everybody has their stresses, but like as the director, it's extremely stressful because I have to kind of keep track of all of the moving parts to make sure that this is happening at this time and this time. This is ready to go. So once this closes, we're now over here and we're being efficient. Why? Because it's 15 hours for 33 seconds of footage. I mean, that's not like a running rule. It doesn't calculate the same way every time, but there are a lot of moving parts, and you want to make sure that that machine is running the way that it needs to, because things go wrong, and they always go wrong, but you keep trucking and you keep doing what you can do. I love these guys' energy. This is just a lot of fun for me. I kind of just want to hang out with them, you know? I mean, I know that's the understatement of the century. Some of you all would give up your entire families to have a coffee with. Could I have a coffee with RM? Would I survive that? It's a good question. Anyway, I appreciate the recommendation. I love the behind the scenes stuff. The next video will be different. As a matter of fact, you already know what the next video is. You just don't know which one it is. Tomorrow will be one of the 3 most recommended introductions to BTS. You don't know which one yet, but tomorrow, be ready to go, because I will be. I'm Roscoe. Thanks for watching. Look out for each other.